Welcome back, everybody. It's Passage to Profit. We have such a fantastic show for you this evening, and I am pleased to announce that we have the marvelous Marci Hopkins on our program this evening, and she's a TV personality. She's a host. She has her own show on WLNY TV. Wake Up with Marci. It's on 10 a.m., and we've caught the show more than once, and it's great programming. So welcome to the show, Marci.
Thank you so much. And I think I may use that marvelous Marci. That's going to be my new name.
Yeah. Well, you can get a trademark on it.
I like that.
If you know where to go. So
yes, I love it.
So tell us a little bit about your career. You're really, to have your own show on television is an accomplishment, and I know you've been on for a while, and so there may be other people who are interested in sort of following that path and building that career. What kind of advice would you give to them? And maybe you could tell us a little bit about your own story that demonstrates some of the things that you had to go through to get to where you are.
Well, I could be here all day now, but let me say this as quick as I can. First of all, I've always worked in television. I just love the creativity and the industry. But I used to work behind the scenes. And when I was about 40 years old, I got in front of the camera. I decided to go for a passion that I had when I was a teenager. And I started with commercial print, commercial acting, that moved into indie films and such. It got to be a little too much, because I will tell you, in the modeling and acting world, it takes a lot of time. And I was a mother, still a mom, but a mom of two young children at the time. So having to go into the city for auditions, having to be available last minute, it took a real toll on me. And so I took some time off, and some things occurred. And I met someone that had a studio. I was going to help him get some people into his studio. And it came up about a talk show. And that seed was planted for me. And I was like, okay, instead of getting guests and sponsors for this talk show, why can't I have my own talk show? And it was something that stayed with me. And at that time, it was when Facebook Live was getting really popular. So this was about 5 years ago. And I decided to just launch on Facebook Live and start interviewing entrepreneurs. So I ended up having a social media talk show called Coffee with Marci. I interviewed entrepreneurs and nonprofits in the community, gave them a voice in the community, and it took off, and it was awesome. And it was really needed. But I knew that I wanted to do something more, because I myself am a sexual abuse survivor. I just celebrated 6 years of sobriety. So I started living this life just beyond my dreams, and I wanted to give that back. So that's when I launched Wake Up with Marci. We're talking about just about 3 years ago. And I wanted to share stories of hope and hardship, so I could help people to get through everyday scenarios that we all get through, that you don't have to collapse in that. So I wanted to share hope. And that's where Wake Up with Marci was born, and was about waking up your subconscious. And so during this, almost 3 years, the show has grown tremendously. Now, Coffee with Marci was where I started. So I started literally with an idea and my phone. So I just want to say that you don't have to start a business with everything being perfect. What you do need to start a business with is passion. And if you know that there's something that you want to do or change in this world, then you can do it. And you just need to go for it. And that's what I did. And I continue to learn and fail And you can't be afraid of failing, and you always need to continue educating yourself. I used my past experience, but I also had to learn a lot. I had to learn all about social media. I had to book my own guests. I have to do my own writing. I was producing my own shows. It's all my own idea. I mean, this is what I love, and the mission behind it, making a difference. And that's just what I've stayed with. And now here I am every Saturday morning on a CBS owned affiliate, WLNY, every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. I'm now writing a book, and I'm just really trying to make a difference in people's lives. And that is with stories of hope, celebrity inspiration, education, and resources so we can move forward in our lives.
Wow.
That's excellent. I think that part of your success is due to the fact that you found something that people really want. So like you can invent a new way to sit on a chair, but nobody's going to use it. But I think that you also have to think about that. Like,
What?
I couldn't think of anything else, but people have to think about that when they're coming up with an idea for something. It has to be something people want. And I think you do, especially with what you're doing, have to be incredibly passionate about it.
You do. And I just want to say that I am now working on an invention. My prototype's almost done, and it's called Carcentials. This was an idea that I had literally 13 years ago when my daughter was 2 years old. And I had someone come on my show. So this is just saying, when someone comes into your life, she helps people with inventions. I told her about my idea, and here I am 13 years later, and my prototype's being done. So you don't need to give up on a dream or an idea that you've had. Just wait for the universe and for the right people to come into your lives, and you can make it happen.
Wow, that's great. I mean, I think there's a lot to be said for patience, because there's everybody is sort of wants to get everything done or achieve everything as quickly as possible. And really, I think success is just a matter of being patient and, also being driven, but also just knowing that the time for it will come when you're ready for it and the world is ready for it. So.
That's exactly right. And you do need to be patient. Don't give up too soon. Enjoy the journey, right? Like, we want so quickly, but it really doesn't work out that way. So we need to be patient and enjoy and just keep striving for what we want. It'll come.
So you have a book coming out. Do you have any thoughts about where you want to take your show next?
Well, I'm actually working on a reel right now because I want to take my show national. I want to start helping people on a broader basis. I actually am now being interviewed nationally on ABC, NBC, and Fox as a recovery expert. So I am taking my voice nationally to help other people and my experience. And so I hope that my book will just continue to further my mission.
Well, did you feel like, since you bring up recovery expert and you mentioned the abuse and the alcohol, you were numbing yourself with the alcohol?
It was coping. Yeah, it was all about coping. Yeah.
Yeah. So how did you break that cycle?
Well, it took a long time. So how did I listen? Life was just crumbling around me. Like, I coped for a long time with alcohol. I started drinking like when I was 12 years old, when my abuse started. And I was able to function right throughout my life with alcohol. Yes, things happened. But I was able to have a guy, have a place to live, have a good job. Everything always looked good. It was just really what was happening on the inside. So towards the end, my acting actually had a big part in elevating my drinking, because I was using alcohol as liquid courage. And also I was going through perimenopause, and it just was causing a lot of issues in my life, and my drinking elevated. And it just got to a place where life was it was falling apart, and I knew I had to make a change, and I didn't want to lose what I had. And you have to admit to yourself first, you can't do it for anyone else. It has to be for you. And everyone has a different low point where they're going to hopefully stop and seek the help that's out there, because there's so much help.
Right. Well, I think a lot of people increased their alcohol intake during quarantine, right? So
Yes.
Yeah, during
Yeah.
COVID, I think
Yeah.
I've heard that from a lot of people.
So we're all
Yeah.
kind of trying to heal from that now.
Yeah. And it's just like, there's a fine line between that bad habit and addiction. So just understanding that if you have an addiction, you do not have the capability of making the choice to do it or not to do it.
Interesting.
Very good. Kenya, you must have a question or two.
I do. So first of all, I want to say you were born to be on TV. You have the look, and you're a beautiful lady. And I just
thank
want to
you.
commend you, like, for your journey and what you've gone through. How would you say some of the traumatic experiences that you've had have helped your show?
Well, because I can relate, that has really helped me. I've done a lot of healing through my experience through the 12-step program. And I've broken a lot of cycles, bad cycles. I've changed my mindset. And, whether it's trauma or you're going through grief or going through recovery or mental health issues, whatever it may be, I can relate. And I think that really helps for me to connect. And when I'm having the conversation with my guest, I am able to share my story along with them. And it's a bonding experience.
That's great. And so you're talking about hope. Where do you find sources of hope? And how do you help give hope to your audience? And kind of do that every week?
Well, first of all, I just want to say there is so much hope out there, and sharing your story gives so much hope, and it helps you to recover. Whether you're sharing it on a television show or you're sharing it with a close friend or your therapist, this helps you to recover. And when you're sharing your story, it helps someone else to feel safe in maybe sharing their story too. And when you start sharing your story, that's when your recovery journey begins, your healing journey begins. And, how do I spread hope? It's through the stories and the inspiration of the guests that I have that come on, and they are willing to share their stories and be authentic in their truth. You can go online, you can go through all of the different avenues that are out there right now, and find a group that can help you. Go on Facebook, something you're going through, you can relate to someone, find a group, find someone that can help you and build that hope and change within your body, and within your life.
Well, I think it's wonderful that you're being so open about your struggles and how you overcame them, because when people look at you, as Kenya said, you are a gorgeous woman. You look like your life is completely together, like you never had a care in the world, right? And we know that everybody struggles with things at some time or another. And so to look at somebody who looks like you and so poised and say, wow, look at what she had to go through, it does give hope that other people can go through it. We might not look as good as you on the other side, but at least we can be doing a lot better than we are now for struggling, right?
Listen, I think that if you find true happiness from the inside, it shines out. So, we all are beautiful in our own right, and we should never compare ourselves to anyone else. But I just want to say, if you find real happiness and joy within yourself, because it starts with you, it will shine out and your life will be just so fulfilled.
So do you meditate every day?
I love meditation. That has helped me tremendously. When I was starting my healing journey, that's what I found. I found meditation, and the 12-step program also, encourages meditation. And I would encourage anyone out there to do it. I know that it's hard, and a lot of people say, I can't quiet my mind and this and that, but you start small, right? It's just like anything else you build up. If you're exercising, you got to build your muscle, right? So this is a muscle you have to build, and an exercise that you have to build. And YouTube offers so many different meditations, and there's also a lot of apps out there that help.
Wow. Well, that's fascinating. And thank you so much for joining us this evening. And again, you can find Wake Up with Marci right now on WLNY TV, and she's on at 10 a.m. in the morning.
But soon to be national.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I really hope that we see you every morning all across the nation. I think you're delivering a great message and inspiring a lot of people.
And what's the name of your book?
Chaos to Clarity.
Chaos to Clarity.
Yeah.
When do you think that's going to be published, or do you know yet?
I'm hoping the latest is March of next year.
Great.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank you.
Be looking for that too. So I hope you can stay on with us for the rest of the show, and we'll be right back. This is Passage to Profit, and you're listening to Richard and Elizabeth Gearhart, our special guest, marvelous Marci Hopkins, and we'll be back right after this.